Okay, so just a few more minutes. Want to make sure that everybody understands how this is going to be. This is the Congressman's press conference. She'll run it. They're going to pull up over here, but I don't want you to break your sticks because there isn't going to be enough time for you to get back and set for the press conference. So if you all could just hold, when she pulls up, she's going to come right up this sidewalk and she'll address you. Okay?
My check, can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Hey!
putting the phone on the podium now. I think the Congresswoman and the family are going to come up shortly, okay? Repeat that, Robert. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yeah, but leave the phone on the podium just to see how the audio sounds.
Okay, thank you. You got your mics and everything here are live, so y'all are on the air.
Perfect. I can hear you.
Well, I can't tell you, say that. Good morning or good afternoon. Thank y'all for coming this morning. As you know, my name is Sylvia Garcia. I'm a member of Congress from Houston, District 29, the home of Vanessa Guillen. This morning, I accompanied the family with a visit with the Fort Hood leadership. We met with General Elflant and Colonel Overland and members of the CID investigative team. Also with us, of course, is Vanessa's father, Mr. Guillen, Myra Guillen, sister, and their attorney, Ms. Kawam. Also with us is Ana Luisa Tapia of LULAC, here locally. I'll begin by just saying that we've got to remember that this story is about a family who's hurting. I know we can talk about Fort Hood, we can talk about the Army, we can talk about a lot of things, but right now our prayers and thoughts are with Mama Guillen, who's at the hotel resting, with Papa Guillen and the entire Guillen family, and all the families that they represent who have soldiers stationed on a base much like this one. One of Vanessa's dreams had always been to join the U.S. Army. Now we're dealing with a tragedy that involves Vanessa being missing 2 months now, 2 months, and not having been found. So yes, we went in with a lot of questions. We got some answers, but we still have a lot of questions. I must say that both the colonel and the general were, I think, it probably as forthcoming as they could be, because it still is a criminal investigation. They have now used the words foul play. They are convinced now that there is foul play involved, and they're following all the leads that they can. We were given a timeline that we have requested from day one. However, we didn't get what I consider a tick-tock of everything that happened, who did what, because again, of the pending criminal investigation. I am pleased that the father was here and that he was able to, for the first time, really talk to the colonel, talk to the general, and get some of his questions answered. He still has some, but for him, of course, he needs to do that in Spanish. And when we get done here today, of course, I'll say also a few words in Spanish, and so will the family lawyer. So with that, I'll turn it over to Maida if she has anything to say.
Hi, I'm Vanessa's older sister. I want to thank everyone for coming out and keeping my sister's name alive. I hope that we keep doing so until we find her. It's already been 2 months, and this is something that I don't wish upon anyone. And the meeting today, it was a bit more progress than what we always had for the past 2 months. I still don't understand why it had to take a little bit more than 6 weeks for us to start taking action, for them to start taking action, because we started since day one, and it's not fair. I hope that they're really pushing, and I hope that they take everything I said in the conference room serious. Thank you.
Now we'll have the family's lawyer, Ms. Kawam.
Thank you everyone for coming today and covering this very important story. We have lost, or we're missing, a soldier, someone who's fought for our country, someone who's served in our military to protect all of us. And our job is to go and find her, go and figure out what's happened, where is she, and how did this happen? We need to do something, we need to do something soon. Our meeting today was very good. We got a few answers. Not all the answers we wanted, but a few. We're on a good lead now. As the Congresswoman said, they suspect foul play. So do we. And we're hoping that our investigation will go further. We'll learn who it is. And we will unite, not just the state of Texas, but as a country, for our military, to support our military, and let them know that we are fighting not just for our military, not just for Vanessa, but for everyone, because nobody should be in harm's way. Nobody should go through this. No family, no father, no sister, no one should go through this. This is horrific. And I thank you for covering this, and let's work together to find Vanessa.
Also with us today, just for the record, was a representative from Congressman Carter's office, who, of course, Fort Hood is in his district. He joins part of the district with Fort Hood with Representative Williams. There was someone here from his office, and also a representative from Senator Cruz's office. I spoke to Senator Cruz last week about this case. So he is also in support in our search, and he will help me with everything he can from the Senate side. Locally, we've gotten a lot of support from LULAC, and to represent them today is Ana Luisa Tapia.
Under better circumstances, I would greet you as a good afternoon. However, right now it's just welcome. Vanessa Guillen's family, they've been missing her for 2 months. She came up missing from her assignment of work, and since then we haven't heard anything. LULAC National, Domingo Garcia, wants the nation to know that LULAC is involved. We are involved. We are committed. And we will continue to claim her name in English and Espanol, bring her home, bring her back. We want her back safely. It is hard to believe that a young lady, one of our young ladies, has come up missing from a military installation as worldwide known as Fort Hood. Ella es nuestra niña. She's one of our young ladies, our girls. She's everybody's daughter. She's everybody's daughter. We are wanting answers. It's hard to believe we haven't had answers. We want you to know that we are here. We're going to keep claiming her name. We'll keep talking about her. Seguiremos en la batalla. No nos vamos a olvidar. No nos vamos a callar. We take our right to speak to our congressmen, our senators, and we demand to be heard. To the leadership, the military leadership, chain of command, we will be heard. We will not be quiet. We are not going. She will not be forgotten.
Thank you. We'd be happy to take any questions anybody might have. And we do have a hard stop. I regrettably have to head back to Houston to catch a flight to go to Washington for a judiciary hearing tomorrow.
What was some details of the meeting?
I'm sorry?
What was some details of the meeting?
Well, you know, I thought, as the attorney said, we made some progress. We got some answers to some of our questions. We got a timeline, a breakdown of what happened that day in terms of where she was and what she did. What we failed to get was the exact TikTok, the exact times of some of these things. There's still maybe a few discrepancies that we need to resolve between what the family remembers happened that day and what the CID investigation is saying. We were also able to get a update from the colonel on the investigation that he has begun on the sexual assault and sexual harassment allegations. That was a part of the CID work that they concluded that it was really something that somebody else needed to do. So the colonel has started an internal investigation. So we are very concerned that all those merit the same kind of attention and time as the potential criminal investigations. I think the most important part is that they are using the words now, foul play, and they are looking at potential criminal activity having occurred. The question is who, what, and when. And we've been reassured that they're going to do everything they can. They will leave no stone unturned until they find Vanessa. I have spoken with the Secretary of the Army. I have spoken to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. I've talked to Senator Cruz. Everyone is in agreement. We will give this base the assets and the resources that they need to make sure that we find Vanessa.
Congresswoman.
Well, they're not here because they considered it my press conference, and I visited with them even afterwards, and I can tell you that they were very open. They have committed to working with us jointly and meeting with the family as often as they need to, opening their communications with their attorney, making sure that the family is reassured that they are looking for Vanessa. I think that it is really all those things, the family pressure, the social media pressure, my inquiries, all of those things have worked to bring more attention to this case. But we don't want just attention, we want action and we want results. And we will not stop until we find Vanessa. I'm sorry?
I'd like to ask the family about the I Am Vanessa.
Okay, let me see who wants to answer. Okay.
Can you tell us, when they say foul play, can you elaborate on that? How did the Army come to that conclusion?
They really did not share with us what led them to that conclusion. I frankly could have told them that sooner, but you know, CID has their work, but they've concluded that now, and they are looking at all of it altogether. But I want to start briefly. Mama Guillen is here now, and she does want to say a few words. Those of you who do not speak Spanish, bear with her because she will be making her remarks in Spanish. I don't know if there's anybody here to translate any of it for the English press, but we'll do our best. Oh, I just I did. Yeah, I did. But that was the public press. Mama
Antes que nada, buenas tardes a todos.
Y espere que la traduce en inglés porque muchos de ellos no hablan español.
Que te hagas para acá, mamá.
Un poquito más para acá.
Porque los micrófonos le tapan la cara.
Yo antes que nada debo darle gracias a Dios de que me levantó de la cama para poder venir, porque no pude venir acá adentro porque no me sentía nada bien. Sí me invitó el coronel, se lo agradezco, me invitó que viniera, pero no pude. No pude porque ayer cuando miré que andaban buscando en ese río, me sentí muy mal, porque yo no quiero, ni yo sé que mi hija no está allí. Yo sé que mi hija no está allí, porque ellos se tardaron mucho en buscar a mi hija, porque yo les supliqué desde un principio que me buscaran a mi hija, desde un principio que se cerrara esa base y se pusiera todos los más de 30,000 soldados a buscar a mi hija y no lo hicieron. Nunca lo hicieron. Yo les supliqué que se cerrara esa base y que se investigara cuarto por cuarto, barraca por barraca, edificio por edificio. Nunca lo hicieron. ¿Por qué hasta ahora andan haciendo ese show de buscar a mi hija? ¿Por qué hasta ahora? Yo sigo justicia y sigo que se me respete y se me respete a mi hija como soldada, como ella se inscribió en el ejército por su país, por su patria, para defendernos a todos nosotros. Que decía cuando estaba chiquita, desde los 10 años, decía que se iba a escribir y que se iba a escribir. Yo no le creía. Yo pensaba que era un juego de niña, pero no. Llegó al grado de la adolescencia y se entró a la high school y se escribió. Y yo lloré mucho porque no quería que se escribiera, porque mi corazón de madre ya temía esto que iba a sufrir yo. Ella se escribió por su país y para defendernos. Y ahora que ella necesita, debemos apoyarla y buscarla. Y atrapar al miserable que sea, que no sé cuál de todos sea. Yo por eso exijo justicia y exijo que se investigue y que se cancele a todos los sargentos que estaban al mando de mi hija, a todos los de su unidad. Que se investiguen sus casas, sus ranchos, sus cuartos, sus celulares, que se les quiten hasta que me digan dónde está mi hija. Porque todos, desde el sargento mayor, como era su responsabilidad, el credo del sargento, de cuidar a su soldado, de protegerlo, no lo hizo conmigo. Le hicieron bajar con engaños al cuarto de armas para secuestrarla. Y yo no sé de allí cómo se la llevaron. Yo no sé, solo sé que fue una troca blanca el que se la llevó. Una troca blanca. ¿Quién de ellos tiene una troca blanca? Que se investigue. Que se investigue, que se llegue a la verdad, que no oculten estos de la base, los coroneles, no oculten, porque todo se va a saber en el nombre de Jesús, que todo se sabrá, porque así mi Padre Dios lo quiere. Yo necesito a mi hija y la quiero viva. Desde un principio, cuando hablé yo allá en la otra entrada, dije que a mi hija la quiero viva. Viva la quiero porque mi hija entró viva. Porque si Dios no lo quiera, mi hija aparece muerta, cierro esta base. Muevo cielo, mar y tierra y esta base se cierra, porque es una pudrición de base. Es una pudrición, porque dice ay, que el mejor lugar ¿para qué? Para secuestrar, violar, matar. No es justo, no es justo. Por eso yo exijo que por culpa de ellos me estoy mala yo, porque yo necesito a mi hija conmigo, es mi vida esa niña es mi vida. Es mi adoración. Por eso ando peleando con uñas y dientes hasta que se me entregue y que paguen los culpables. Exijo que se encarcelen a todos los sargentos, desde el más chiquito al más alto, y que se les investigue sus casas, sus ranchos, sus habitaciones, sus celulares. ¿Por qué no han hecho eso desde un principio? Si yo les dije hace 4 semanas el nombre de un miserable, ¿por qué no hicieron todo desde un principio? Porque hasta ahora andan haciéndose el show de buscar a mi niña. Yo necesito a mi niña y la quiero viva, a mis brazos, a mi lado, porque si no, no sé qué sería de mí. Yo necesito a mi preciosa conmigo, porque yo ya no puedo más con sus mentiras de esa gente tan miserable, porque son unos miserables. Que se llegue a la verdad. Por eso yo no pido hablar con esas personas. Yo pido hablar con el mero bueno. Yo pido hablar con el que manda, el que está en el Congreso, en el Senado. No con ellos no son nadie. Nomás son para desaparecer personas. Yo pido hablar con el bueno, con el que manda. No con esas personas. Esas personas para mí no son nadie. Son unas personas que se trata de desaparecer jovencitas y secuestrar. Por eso, que se me haga justicia, por el amor de Dios, que se oiga mi voz. Porque más de 200 madres están acudiendo a mí. Mi hijo no va a firmar. Salió de la high school, no va a firmar. Mi hijo lo voy a sacar así haya represalias. Prefiero tener a mi hijo con vida a que me lo desaparezcan. Por eso, que oiga el presidente que por esta causa de que no se limpie esta base de corrupción y no me entreguen a mi hija, ya no va a haber jóvenes que se escriban. Ya no va a haber. ¿Quién verá la guerra si hay guerra? ¿Quién va a defender al país? Nadie. Por miedo. Me van a desaparecer. ¿Yo para qué me escribo? Yo prefiero trabajar en una tienda, en un supermercado, para ganarme la vida, que ir a esa mugrosa base, a la que sea. Por eso pido que se limpie desde lo más profundo y que se me entregue a mi hija viva. La quiero viva. Por el amor de Dios, viva. Y que se investigue y caigan todos los responsables. Así sea un coronel, así sea un sargento, no me importa. Que se investigue desde el más chiquito hasta el más alto. Porque todos son responsables, todos. Porque taparon toda la investigación, porque ese día no se trabajó. Y a mí me mintió el de CID, que se había trabajado. Nunca se trabajó. Y mi hija nunca volvió con el reporte. Nunca. Me dijeron que había vuelto. Mi hija nunca volvió. ¿Qué pensaron? ¿Que yo no iba a saber? A mí alguien muy importante me lo dijo. Por eso lo supe. ¿Qué pensaron? ¿Que Dios no estaba conmigo? Dios está conmigo. Por eso estoy llegando a la verdad. Que se llegue a la verdad y que se me entregue a mi hija. Le pido al presidente que me ayude a investigar, porque en ellos no creo nada. Nada. No creo ni así. Que se llegue a la verdad y que se llegue a la verdad, que me entreguen a mi niña. Porque después de esto no va a haber ni un niño que se escriba para el ejército. Y déganlo por seguro. Yo aquí tengo todos los mensajes de las madres. Mi hijo no se va a escribir, señora. ¿Para que me lo desaparezcan? Esto no es una mentira. Que llegue a la verdad. Porque ya no va a ver quién nos defiende. ¿Quién nos va a defender? ¿Unos a otros? ¿No, verdad? No. Por eso ellos, los soldados, se escriben por su país, por su patria. Por eso tenemos que tener conciencia. Malditos manáticos. Tienen que salir a la luz y que se encarcelen y les caiga todo el peso de la ley y que se me entregue a mi hija viva. ¡Viva! Porque yo estoy a punta de pastilla. Yo estoy a punta de pastilla para poder estar aquí. Y yo quiero a mi hija porque esa niña es mi vida, es mi cielo, es mi todo. Porque mis 6 hijos son únicos para mí. Y es lo que más deseo, que se me haga justicia y que se le haga justicia a mi chiquita. Tanto amo a mi reina. Es ejemplar en todas las escuelas, todos los trofeos, todo en 4 equipos de fútbol, excelente. Señora, su niña es excelente. No se merece que un miserable, unos miserables como estos, le arruinen su vida a una joven. Por eso pido que se investigue a todas esas personas, no importa quién sea, que se investigue y que caiga todo el peso de la ley y que me entreguen a mi niña. Es lo que pido y les agradezco de todo corazón que hayan venido. Yo no pude entrar porque ahorita me levanté así de la cama y yo vine a declarar y a hacer lo que sé, que se me entregue a mi niña. Yo les agradezco a la abogada, a la congresista, pero que me apoyen a ir al Senado, a la presidencia. Aquí no, al presidente y al gobernador, que se investigue y que se me entregue mi niña y que paguen todos esos miserables lo que han hecho. Por el amor de Dios, ayúdenme a todo esto.
Sí te vamos a ayudar, ya sabes, te vamos a ayudar. Vamos a seguir.
What the mother is pleading is for justice for her daughter. Her daughter was taken while she was not even supposed to be working. COVID-19 changed the schedule for everybody's working. And so she wasn't even scheduled to work that day. She got called in. She showed up in civilian clothes. She was not in uniform. And now she's being told, and she wants to know, why does it take so long and why does it take so much attention from all the different organizations and legal, Ms. Natalie, and Congresswoman Garcia, for them to start doing anything and start answering questions. That is her question. She said she does not trust them. She said that she wants help from Congress, from senators, from everybody else. She does not trust the military. They haven't answered her questions all this time. And then now all of a sudden, with all this attention, now they're answering, or they're attempting to answer questions. She wants her daughter, and she says she has people reaching out to her, telling her that they will not let their children, their students, enlist in the Army. Why? So they can come up missing. So she demands justice. LULAC is saying we will proclaim for justice. We will not let the name of Vanessa Guillen be forgotten, and we will pursue, and we will have justice.
Yeah, well, can you give me a minute? Someone down here had a question about the Find Vanessa campaign.
Yeah, I'm over here now.
Oh, you moved. All right, so Lupe, who started it, is right here. She'll answer that question.
Hi, I was just wondering how it feels to see so many people sharing their stories. It's both encouraging to see the support, and I would guess maybe also discouraging to see so many painful stories. Can you just speak on what it's been like?
The hashtag I am Vanessa Guillen. It started because my sister, she was being sexually harassed on base, which is unacceptable because she was supposed to be safe while working and protecting the country we live in. And the I am Vanessa Guillen is to encourage the women to have and still are passing through the sexual harassment, because they're the ones risking their life for us in combat. They're the ones protecting us and serving the nation. No woman should be seen as a sexual object, because they're the ones, they're just like my sister. They just want to fight for us, and that's how they return them. They sexually harass, abuse mentally and on base. And so the I am Vanessa Guillen is to encourage anyone to not be afraid to speak up, to show the public, to show everyone what this base and other bases and the military is capable of. Because you see the sign, it's called a great place. Why? Why is it called a great place? They murder. They sexually harass my sister. They disappear more than 200 soldiers in that base. They have various prostitution rings, gang members, 2 mass shootings. How is that the great place? So I demand justice, and I demand answers, because clearly, after 2 months, they show actual footage of their searching.
Where's that?
They're searching my sister like if she was dead. She's not dead. I know it, because she's my sister. So I want justice, and I want answers, because they lied to our faces. That Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020 was a work day. No, it wasn't. So who sent my sister to work?
Thank you. I'm not. Whose microphone is this? I'll just stick it up here. All right. I'm sorry. So somebody up here had a.
About the question, what answers did they actually give you? What questions were asked?
Well, we asked many questions. I asked questions as a member of Congress in terms of the response and the obligation and the duty that the Army has in notifying families when something like this occurs. There is still a discrepancy between when the Army suggests that they notified the family and when the family says that they were notified. In fact, the family maintains that the only reason that they were notified was not that they were called, but because they had to call them saying, hey, we've texted her, we've tried to call her, and the texts are bouncing back, the calls are bouncing back. And that was, they reached out to the family in response to that. So it's still unclear when and who and at what time the Army officially announced to the family that Vanessa was missing. There's also, and I think the lawyer may want to add to this, They did confirm that 11:30 was the last time Vanessa had contact, according to her phone records. The phone is not available. We don't know where it is. Presumably Vanessa has it wherever she is. So they've not been able to do forensics on the phone. They've been able to go through credit card records, security records, and people having seen her. So the only thing they'll confirm is 11:30 was the last time someone had any contact with her. Everything else, we don't know. We don't have a actual, what we call TikTok. The whole day, who did what when. And that's very concerning to the family. It's very disturbing because there should have been probably 3 or 4 different checks at the barracks before the end of the day. And in at least one, it was admitted that the, I forget, is it a sergeant who does it? I guess the supervisor or the sergeant who actually is supposed to account for everyone in the barrack submitted a report that everyone was accounted for, when in fact now he's admitted that he did not see Vanessa. But I'll see if the lawyer wants to add anything.
So, can you elaborate on the sexual harassment allegations? If they're investigating anyone?
They did not. No, they will. Most of our questions relating to any identification of any particular person, they declined to respond because it's a pending investigation. So we weren't told who was the last person who saw her. We were not told who witnessed her going back to the parking lot. We weren't told who they're looking at in terms of the sexual harassment allegations. Remember, that part of the investigation just started last week, and it was started by the colonel internally because CID was not going to pursue a sexual harassment allegation because that's not, in their view, criminal in nature. Did you want to add to that or not?
Yeah. Elaborate on that. I believe you mentioned that there's like a video of a sergeant going into her bathroom. Can you elaborate on that, on those 2 things?
Yeah, she can.
Sure. So my client did disclose to the general in the room that Vanessa had a sergeant come into a shower inappropriately, walk in to a shower while she was naked, and it was very uncomfortable for her, and she did report that. She did report that to her family and to her friends. We suspect it's that same person that was her supervisor at that same day after she was missing. The Congresswoman asked about, why haven't you investigated this sexual harassment claim? She asked that to the CID agent, and they said because it wasn't criminal. However, she made a great point as to just because it's not criminal doesn't mean it doesn't lead you to information that would be later found criminal. So I hope that answers your question. I think you asked me a question that I haven't about the cameras. So they said that they didn't have any cameras that day. I find that odd. And they said that she did not put in codes that day for anything. Any of the quote-unquote seeings, when people saw her, it was just by interviews, like people were interviewed and they said they saw her, but they don't have any kind of objective evidence. That's what they say. You know what, and I also questioned them about the checks. There were several checks that day. For example, when you wake up, they go and check you in your room. They check at 9 a.m., check at 3 p.m., check at 4 p.m. They didn't have that in the timeline. That was missing. So when I asked that, they kind of tiptoed around that, saying, well, someone could have been having lunch or someone could have been out, but that's not how it works. A check-in is a check-in. So I think perhaps they're going to look into this issue as to who checked her in. If they didn't check her in, why haven't they looked for her starting at 3 p.m. when she was missing? Why did it take Vanessa's sister and family and friends to contact the base and say she's missing at 8 p.m.? So there's a lot of gaps in their stories or their interviews or their information that they provided us. And I hope that perhaps we had brought some more clarification, some more information to them, that they can look into it deeper. The colonel said that after the sexual harassment claims have been reported, he had started an investigation after that on his own. So we'll find out more information. Unfortunately, what I was disappointed with was in that timeline they gave us, they refused to say any times that, for example, she went to a gas station to get gas that day. They didn't say what time that gas station was. They didn't say what time the room check-in was. But they did say the last time they saw her was 11:30, which is, you know, when she was in the different armory rooms and when she was in different places that they quote-unquote saw her. We don't have any information as to those times. And what's more disturbing is they refused to tell us who she was working with, the supervisor she was working with that day. She supposedly sent a text, which was really disturbing, that day to her supervisor, notifying him of the serial number of one of the arms or one of the guns that she had to review. Why would she put that in a text message? That seems like it defeats protocol. So we're wondering whether he used her phone to text himself and make it look like she was working. That's our suspicion. We hope we brought light to that. You know, why would you use your personal cell phone when you're supposed to write things down in a book for the military? I mean, a lot of it doesn't connect. And hopefully we brought some light to them that we're on this. We're wondering, was there a breach of protocol? Someone covering for another person because they breached protocol? We don't care who messed up. We just want answers. We want to know what time, where, who, and why.
We have time for one more question.
Now, remember, we do not have her phone.
But they got the phone records.
Yeah, they got phone records from Sprint.
That's correct.
From Sprint.
Oh, and do we know her last location?
Well, they didn't say, but presumably here.
Is that confirmed though?
Lastly, can y'all just say what's next? What are y'all looking forward to moving forward?
Well, for me, it's about making sure that this base and their leadership has the assets and resources to do everything humanly possible to find Vanessa and to make sure that they keep an open line of communication with the family so that we can get past this and find Vanessa. I mean, that is my role as a member of Congress. And if necessary, after we take a look at all this, if there's anything that I need to do in Washington, either legislatively or administratively or through appropriations, make the changes necessary so that this just never, ever happens again.
To make it absolutely clear, was there ever any start to those sexual harassment allegations? Did that investigation ever start?
Yes, it started last week by Colonel Oberlin after CID decided not to pursue those allegations and stick strictly with the criminal investigation.
Thank you very much. We got to get her going, y'all. Sorry. Thank you so much.
It's ongoing. The sexual harassment allegations are ongoing. They just started last week.
They couldn't tell you anything about them?
No, but we will, trust me, you've got two sharp ladies here. We're going to make sure that gets investigated.
Thank you, ma'am.
To answer your question, I'd like to see a congressional investigation here. I think there was a few agencies that were involved here, including the CID. I think somebody dropped the ball and there was a breach of protocol. We're talking about security, no cameras, using a cell phone to put in a serial number of a federal information of a military property. The check-ins where's the safety and precautions? How did this happen? And why wasn't the family informed immediately? There's so many gaps and holes in what we learned today that I am going to demand a congressional investigation for this family. We want to know what happened and who is covering up for who and why are they covering up? You know, this can't happen to one of our soldiers. It should never have happened. And if we have to do that, we have to ask Congress to have a congressional investigation, to subpoena everything, to have everybody be testify before Congress. That's going to be necessary. It's going to be necessary because unfortunately, I don't feel like at the local level it's happening. I really feel like we're not going to resolve this down here. We need the higher ups now.
You mentioned that they saw a guy walking through the tower. Is that guy accounted for? I mean, do they have him in check? I mean, as far as, you know, is he reachable?
Sure. So they won't tell us whether who they're investigating or why. We did disclose his name to the committee today, and we hope that they will act on the information we provided them.
So there was a question, what is going to be done after this press release? We will continue to hold peaceful demonstrations over at the corner of Fort Hood and Rancier. That is the closest gate to where her unit is at. And LULAC wants to tell the world, wants to tell the nation, Texas, Fort Hood, anybody that will listen, that we will not let America cry out for Vanessa, the nation, the world. Que América aclame por Vanessa y la nación y todo el mundo. Vanessa, we will not stop looking for you. No pararemos de buscarte. We will not give up fighting for you. No pararemos de luchar por ti. And we will not walk away and forget you. No nos alejaremos y no nos olvidaremos de ti. This is a LULAC promise. Esta es la promesa de LULAC. Gracias.